In this video, we're going to discuss the strategy of regrouping units. This is important for us because in a chapter of our course all about measurement, this idea helps us to develop a sense of scale for different units, and perhaps more importantly for most grade 10 students, a regrouping question is a very common type of question for this unit that will show up on tests and exams. To start with, let's think about why we would regroup. Imagine that Jenna sells cupcakes in 3 different kinds of packages: singles, half dozens, and boxes, and that today she has 137 cupcakes made and is looking for the most efficient way to package them. When we talk about the most efficient way to package, we're talking about the least number of packages. If we want to use the least number of packages, we'd start with those that can hold the most and then work our way up to the packages that can hold the least. So for Jenna, that means that we'd start figuring out that she can create 6 boxes of cupcakes, which would each hold 120 cupcakes, and now she's got 17 left over. Out of those 17 cupcakes now, Jenna can make 2 half-dozen boxes. That'll be 12 more cupcakes, and now she's got 5 left over, which will be her singles. So the most efficient way for Jenna to package these cupcakes will be 6 boxes, 2 half-dozens, and 5 singles. This is basically regrouping in a nutshell. In this part of the course, we might not talk so much about different ways to package cupcakes, but we will talk about how many yards, feet, and inches there are in 243 inches. Just like we did with Jenna's cupcakes, we're going to start with the largest package, the yards, because they can hold the most inches. So first, let's see how many whole yards we have. We're going to start with our 243 inches and convert to yards. For some students, perhaps we work through feet first, knowing that there are 12 inches in 1 foot, and that there is 1 yard for every 3 feet. Other students may have figured out a faster way to perform that conversion. If you did, that's a great idea to use it. If not, don't worry. In any case, we find that there are 6 3/4 yards in this measurement. In the early example with Jenna's cupcakes, we took the number of boxes and stopped considering all the cupcakes in those boxes. In this case, now we know that there are 6 whole yards. We don't have to deal with that measurement anymore, but we are going to deal with the leftover 3/4 of a yard to figure out how many feet and inches will be left. This is a great time to make use of one of the features of our graphing calculator. We found out that our 243 inches was equal to 6 3/4 yards, but we don't care about those 6 yards, so we can subtract them from our answer. Now we're just going to work with the leftover piece. This would be especially helpful if the leftover piece was a long, complicated decimal number that we didn't want to retype. As we continue working on this question, we're focusing on those leftover 0.75 yards, and now we're going to figure out how many feet are involved. We know that there are 3 feet in every 1 yard, and so we find out that this leftover piece gives us 2 1/4 feet. Just like before, now we know that we have 2 feet, and the leftover piece will be used to figure out how many inches there are. Once again, we make use of the features of our graphing calculator to allow us to quickly work with this decimal number. Our leftover portion, 0.25 or 1/4 of a foot, is going to be converted back into inches. And since we know that there are 12 inches in every 1 foot, we quickly find out this gives us 3 inches, and that our final answer for this question is that 243 inches is equal to 6 yards, 2 feet, and 3 inches. After this last example, and considering the first discussion of Jenna's cupcakes, when we're thinking about regrouping units, we notice that our strategy always involves working from our largest units to our smallest units, because it's most efficient to make the biggest groups first. In our last example, we're going to convert 2 miles to miles, yards, and feet. And we actually get a little bit lucky here, because right off the bat, based on our decimal number, we can see that we have 2 miles. So when we dig into this question, we're going to start by converting the leftover piece into yards. And let's see, we know that there are 1,760 yards in every 1 mile. This gives us 246.4 yards. Once again, we can see that we have 246 yards, and the remainder, the 0.4 yards, we're going to convert back into feet. So 3 feet goes in the top part of our conversion fraction, and 1 yard goes in the bottom to tell us that this will be equal to 1.2 feet. When we report our final answer, we'll discuss this as 2 miles, 246 yards, and either 1 or 1.2 feet, depending on how the question asks us to round. The goal of this video lesson has been to show you how to correctly and efficiently answer questions that ask you to regroup units.